I always wanted to have my own intro. Hey guys, what's up? Told you I'd see you soon. I'm gonna sit here and yak for about 15 and 21 minutes, so if you want to go grab something and join me, I welcome the company. I'm gonna try not to play with my hair. I'll probably put on a ball cap to stop that. But I'm gonna talk today about the difference between hope and faith. One is a folly notion, a childlike notion, and one of them requires inner strength, knowledge, and spiritual IQ. And I have t-shirts in my closet right now that say love, hope, and faith. And I never knew that there was anything wrong with that. And I took a walk with Jesus today, a walk with Spirit. Again, I do not fall into a trance and pee my pants and twitch in the corner for a half hour. Talking to Jesus is very natural. I could be folding the towels. I could be doing anything. In my house, being a domestic engineer or raising my kids, I could be doing anything. And he just grabs a hold of my mind. And we take a walk, and I listen, and I come back with a memory and a recount of the story of what happened. Today was a normal day, an absolutely normal day. I had such a okay, I didn't have to mow, I didn't have to clean, I didn't have to do anything. My kids were wonderful, they were low maintenance. And if you just tuning in, I'm going to talk about hope and faith and the difference. And hell, I didn't even know there was a difference. Anyway, I've had a regular day, and so for the things that happen here on the earth, where we eat spaghetti and poop and bitch about stuff, we're going to call that the 3D, okay? 5D, you'll hear that term in the spiritual world, 5D. 5D is your angels, your A-team, which if you would like, I can explain that A-team thing to you. But A-team, it's your conscience talking. You ever notice how your conscience sounds like a father figure, a parent? Telling you to do the right things, because that is your Father God inside you, directing you where to go. Most of the time that goes right to the brain, and then we fight it and send it back down. Outside your mind is where Jesus wants us to have, wants us to be, so we can be obedient to what he's telling us to do. Because usually it's really, really hard, and it's usually something that's going to break our ass, nose, or our face. And we're human, so we're not down for that. So, right? Okay. I'm going to be, in light of and in respect of what I told you last week, I got in trouble for not being so open and honest. And in light of that, I have to continue to now show up and be way, way honest. So I went through some feelings today, and then the Lord took me on a walk, and that's that in a nutshell. Video over. Okay. But because he said to show you our relationship, not perfect little papers where I come and tell, to show you our relationship. What happened today was a regular 3D day, but however in 5D, where he resides, it was a busy day, a hurtful day, and kind of a jaw-dropping and life-changing day. And as if you haven't watched some of my videos, I hashtag tell your story, I tell my own story, a little bit about me, on the YouTube channel, Backwards Prophet. And in there, I get pretty down and truthful, pretty down and dirty and raw and truthful about my own life and some of the obstacles I faced, and it's just raw and real. Can't hide who I am or where I've been. So, with that, we have to, it's hard for me because I have to touch upon issues that I'm really sensitive about, but in short, I fell in love with a certain someone 6 years ago. I spent 2.5 to 3 years with them, and they wiggled funny for a couple of weeks, and then they ghosted the shit out of me. They put up a wall, I'm not even sure if they live on the planet anymore, but they ghosted me hard, and I had a lot of unresolved questions, and I needed peace and answers, and that person's truthful answers would have brought me peace, and I couldn't get around the wall. You're denied that peace, the answers that you require, so you're not living in confusion. And also, I had such a broken heart. Anyway, 4 years of being ghosted from that, I kept hope. Just like you guys have done. If anybody's ever done you wrong and you love them, or, whatever, you're hoping that there's a day where they call, where they render truth to you, where they give you your peace and power back, or some form of it. And we hope for days like that, vindication and validation and clearing your name. We hope. We hope. I also am a three-time, I'm not a victim in anything, but I'm a three-time person who's experienced sexual abuse. And none of those times was I believed, was I heard. And that left a mark too. And after at the age of 29, 30 years old, I finally spoke my truth, and that caused my narcissistic family group to do the flying monkey thing and leave my life. So really, I had 10 to 15 people literally ghost me. It took them 6 months to kind of all do it together and separately. It's weird. So I've been ghosted from my family, my mother, my father, my twin brother, my older brother, my younger sister, an aunt, an uncle, another aunt. It was quite painful to lose that many people at once, and nobody brought funeral potatoes. So, and it all happened within the same year, like within the same 18-month period. So I was a completely gutted person, completely spiritually, emotionally dead on the inside, but fully healthy, alive, and youthful on the outside. And I thought, wow, what hell this is, right? I did heal. And I'm still in no communication with my family, and it's been 5 to 6 years, and still in no communication with the other someone who catalyzed who was a catalyst for me to get real, get open, and wake up. So, there's that. I'm always hopeful for some kind of, even if it's not a long-term forever, I'm just hopeful for a conversation, heart-to-heart conversations that I deserve, that allow peace and healing. I'm at that point, I'm ready for that. Anyway, that's the story. I had a regular day today, and I get up and I battle hope a lot. Like the hope builds and it builds, and then because it doesn't happen, hope comes crashing down. And if you haven't noticed, it doesn't take much to crash someone's hope, to pop their bubble. That's pretty easy to do. And Jesus told me why, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I was hopeful. And like I said, I'd build these hopes up for like a year and a half, and it felt like Homeward Bound, that scene of Homeward Bound movie from the 90s, where the family, Peter and the family, should have returned, and they haven't, so Shadow gets antsy, and he's like, oh, they should have come back by now. We must go. So they go on a Homeward Bound journey. I kind of feel like that. Like, I build hope, and then I feel internally like, they should have been here already, this should have happened already. It still hasn't. So the hope comes crashing down. And I have been doing this for about 3 years. It's taken me 3 years to heal. This all went down in my life between 2014 and 2017, so I spent 18, 19, and 20 healing. About 3.5 years of healing. And today, Jesus took me on a walk, and he took me to a graveyard. And like I said, it's not like I fall into trance here. We're just doing regular stuff, and he's talking to me. But he took me to a graveyard, and at that graveyard were the headstones of everyone that I'm speaking of. And he said to me, they're dead to you, and you're dead to them. And I'm quite aware. He said to me that I visit the cemetery often, and that I no longer need the medicine of being around all the dead people. You don't need to sit here anymore. Maybe in the beginning, it was a way for me. I missed them dearly and didn't see it coming. This whole catastrophe of literally being alone happened all at once. And my whole family, everything I loved got taken away, every person, and I haven't seen him since for 4 to 6 years. So I literally walk around almost like I have some type of cancer. And I do pretty good on some days, and other days I don't. Today was a day where I was feeling my illness. I was feeling that sickness of hope. And I've also been a widow in my life, and like a widow would do, because I have, you lose someone, and my guy at the time was parked at the neighborhood morgue, and I knew he'd be there for 4 days before they incinerated and turned him into ash, and we put it in a pretty mantle. I knew he was gone. Do you know where I was all 4 nights? At the funeral home. At the morgue. At the funeral home. Sitting there. Because it was the last time forever that I would see his face. And I didn't want to waste a minute of that. Even though he was dead. Sometimes that's healing. Maybe it's human nature. To drink into the last drop. And at least it's mine. It's my nature. Stevie Ray Vaughan, man, life by the drop. I treated this death that happened in my life in 2016 and 17. It was a big funeral home. And these people have been gone for quite some time. And I think maybe I didn't know how much energy and mental energy and emotional and spiritual energy that I was spending with the dead. They can't hear you. They can't see you. And they're not on your same wavelength anymore. Sometimes Jesus puts people behind you and doesn't let them ever catch up to you again because you're going places that they can't go. So, when I was at the graveyard today, at Mindful Graveyard, I didn't even realize I was carrying anything. Oblivious to the fact that I had 2 huge bags on my shoulders. Okay, it's a vision. And it was like big old rucksacks or something, and I didn't even know until Jesus said, hand me your bag. And as I take the bag off, I realize that this is baggage, literal baggage. And he takes it from me and opens it up, and to my chagrin, he starts pulling things out. He pulls out a smaller bag, and it's got a name on it, and he sets it down, and all these bags, he's dumping it out. All these bags in here have names on them. And he asked me, Lainey, why are you carrying this baggage around? This baggage isn't even yours. Your name's not on this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't, people treat you bad. You didn't, sometimes literally, nobody's ever innocent, but sometimes people treat people bad and they didn't deserve it. And it was unfair, hugely unfair, and hugely an egregious act to do unto someone. And then run and hide. It's cowardly. And it hurts. And as Jesus dumped out this big rucksack, he pulled out the smaller bags that had names on them. And he looked at it and he asked me, he's like, whose is this? And I could read the name. And I like that, for instance, that might be, that bag of bullshit belongs to my dad. Jesus walked over and put the bag over on my dad's graveside. It's his weight to bear now. And I stood there in vision with this until Jesus had delivered all the baggage back to its original owners. He made weight feel weightless. And he is a great counselor. I didn't go to counseling. I don't need counseling. I have a great counselor who just helped me drop the weight. And then Jesus asked me for my other bag. And this one really got me because it was like invisible. I didn't even know that I was holding it. And I had gotten so used to the weight, I didn't even know I had these bags on my back. So when Jesus asked me for the second bag, I took it off. And that one is full of my hopes. Literally, it was my hopes. And I sat right here at this very table just hours earlier without the camera on, feeling this and getting it live. And that's what he said to me the other day when he said, be more naked to your tribe and family on the porch. Let them see our relationship. So I sat right here, guys, and Jesus walked me through this today. So when I took off the second bag, I realized that was my hopes, and I actually sat right here and got tears in my eyes and a lump in my throat. Nobody was taking anything from me, really. Sitting at in my room by myself. But I felt like a child. And I am keen enough in self-awareness to question that. Why did I feel like a child? Why did I feel like I was getting ready to cry? Like he took my favorite teddy bear. And then he showed me how much I cling to those hopes. They're my pacifier, my binky, my security blanket. It's so false. You carry these around to make you feel good. You don't know what you'll do without your hopes. And Jesus said to me he didn't want me having my hopes, because I can't even fathom the greatness and restoration that he has in my life. And if I keep my eyes on my hopes, I'll miss Jesus' hopes for me by 10,000 miles. And that's not why I was put on this earth. I was put on this earth to experience a great life. And I need to go higher. I need to dig deeper. I need to heal. So he asked me for my hopes, and I handed them to him, and just like the other bag, he opened it, and again, to my chagrin and embarrassment, he starts to pull out hopes. Literally, like, shaking them at me, look at this hope you had in here. Oh my, what are you thinking? And I'm slightly embarrassed, and it's like a father digging through a backpack. I had some hopes in there. Anyway, as I went to leave the cemetery, I felt so sad, because Jesus also told me to never come back. What? For a second there, it felt like his words to me, never come back. It really kind of caught me, because I've been coming here for years, like a widow, to heal, to do the leaving a little bit every day, and I'm 3.5 years into taking spoonfuls. And today was the last day. So he took my baggage. He took my yoke from me. It made me weightless. And I'm not going to kid myself. I cried a little bit, and I felt real pain in my heart for letting go of the hopes I had. And that's what he asked me to do. Let go. Let go. Let go. Because visiting here is doing you no good anymore. It might have done good before, but you don't need this medicine anymore. Now it's killing you. There's no need to stay. And he asked me not to have hope. The reason he took hope from me, and I felt like a child and felt like crying, he took my hope. I will give you faith instead, is what he said. And right away I understood it. I never looked at it this way before, but faith is such a more mature, conscious awareness. Faith is at your feet. You walk in faith. Faith is not something you're holding or clinging tight to. Faith is at your feet. You're walking on it. It's foundation. It's your faith. It's in your feet. It's in your toes. It's in your back. It's in the erectness of your spine. It's faith. It's what keeps your head up to your dad. That's faith. Hoping, in contrast to that, hoping feels just like a child. Out of being naive, out of being ignorant, I'm going to hope. And helplessly hope I did. And all hope did, as I would build hope, and then hope would crash, and I would build hope, and hope would crash, and I would build hope. We just did this over, and it was a cycle, and it wasn't going to be sustainable. So that's why, in mindful thought, he caught me at the family cemetery there, and asked me to let go. Let go of the hoping, the things you're hoping for. And some of my hopes are that my mom would call me, 37 years old, and I miss her. Some of my hopes are that my dad would vindicate me and stop hiding behind a marriage and other things and fear. I hope that my brothers still have love for me, and that their time away from me hasn't been jaded by shitty opinions coming from narcissistic parents. I hope that love finds me again. I hope to fall in love in that magnitude again. But this time I want it manifested to the Lord. Nothing less. Or it won't stick. So I had big hopes. And my family and what I feel like was a person I was very much in love with, orphaned me, abandoned me, didn't want me, rejected me, found me non-important, all these negative things. So, and replaceable. I know my worth now, and I'm none of those things. So it's time to leave here. Their medicine onto me is finished. So Jesus asked me for the baggage to go for the rightful owners, and then he asked me for my hopes. Because he is asking me to take two things in place of those two bags, to take faith, which is at my feet. I'm not carrying a bag. I'm not wearing it on my back. Faith is at my feet. And to trust. Trust is like carrying love and air and water. It's weightless itself. It's natural. And I very much trust the Lord. And that puts, it's faith. So where hope had me facing the cemetery and looking at them all the time, hoping, faith allowed me to turn around and leave a place of death. And faith allowed me to walk away because I trust. So, like I said, I didn't never split hairs over hope and faith. And like I said, I have a t-shirt in my closet that says, hope, love, and faith. And Jesus just was explaining to me today that hope is helplessly hopeful. I think that it's hope is more like a spiritual treadmill you can't never get off of. You hope, and it didn't, and you crash, and you hope, and you crash. And Jesus told me there's no crashing when you trade it in for faith and trust. So anyway, that's a candid story. That's what happened to me today, and I'm really proud of me because I did go through a lot of fucking bullshit, and I went through a lot of pain. It was a spiritual awakening that it was that much pain, and I deserve this. I deserve peace. Whether they give it to me or not, rather any of that, rather my hopes never happen. I can walk away from the situation fully, even though it's been over for 4 or 5, 6 years. I left my soul behind. And it takes a while for your soul to catch up, you know what I mean? So I feel like now I have my power back, and I'm no longer going to visit a graveyard of people that can't hear me and people that cannot see me. And I won't stand there like a child with folly hope. I can live, I don't have to visit my yesterdays, because all they're going to do at this point is bring me down and cause me to hope. And that just puts me right back on the treadmill. Hoping brings me right back to the cemetery. I mean, come on. It's like a Venus flytrap. And Jesus warned me to stay away from that. Stop hoping and have faith. So it was a sad day to give my hopes, but it's a happy day to have empty hands, because empty hands are great for receiving and holding and catching all the new things that are coming for you. So anyway, boring message. I'm half asleep. It's past midnight. I'm just doing my job. Every time that me and Jesus do something intimate, I am to come to the camera and tell you about it. So there's that. Hope and faith, and I hope that helped. Okay, talk to you later. God bless.